Hello, this is Glauz, and it's been about 7 months since my last video. This is actually an update video of bug fixing a few things, and most importantly, making the whole experience more user-friendly. So, for those that have everything working, this may be a good solution if you want to improve your workflow with my script. So the bug fix first off was a lot of people in the comments were saying they were having duplicate entries in the dictionary or some sort of error like that. That has been resolved. It was one line of code to fix it, and that should be fine now. The reason why that error was a thing was because if you remember, chin height was a something that did not have a positive or negative value on the slider, but I still put max on it. I said you could remove any suffixes if it did not have like a negative value, like how nose width has max and min, and chin height's just by itself. And I said that shouldn't cause any issues. Well, I lied, and apparently chin height by itself caused issues. But now that has been resolved, so you can go chin height max or chin height min or just chin height by itself for all three of those, and it should work with like this slider here, just going one direction instead of in the middle. Now, let's get to the fun changes. The biggest thing that I did was I gave this a custom editor. And look at this. You'll notice that there's something called create slider here, and to show it off on its fullest, let's get rid of these sliders. Now, let's assume that we did not have anything selected for this target. We know where the blend shapes are at, and we can just simply drag the skin mesh renderer, and it'll automatically detect all the blend shapes on this object. So now there's no more typing, and you don't have to worry about getting everything correct. You'll know if there's an issue if this is not properly showing all your blend shapes, because it should know the instant you put your skin mesh renderer on there. So if everything's not pairing correctly here, then it has to be either a problem with your model or a problem with the script. But there should be no user error because I've taken care of all that. And you'll notice that there's something called a manual canvas apparently selection. Whoops, misspelling. And that's basically, you don't have to put anything here. I'll look for any canvases in your hierarchy in the scene, like I have one right here, and it'll put a slider on there when I create the slider. But if you have multiple canvases, let's say you're using a lot of different canvases for like world space ones, then I would recommend you select the one that you want to prioritize here to put sliders on. So we don't need to fill anything here since we only have one canvas, and we have it selected on cheek. So let's create slider for that, width and depth, and look at that, it creates these little mini sliders, and it's just like that, so you can adjust it. And apparently I did not get my depth, nose depth, and let's create a slider for that. Now look at that. That's pretty cool. You don't have to now go in here and click UI, create a slider, and attach the correct component. And you'll notice here I also have manual and auto. And if you decide you want to change your mind and select to one of these, you can, but you also have to change this text manually. And realistically, you won't even be messing with this. The only reason why this has its own editor script here is because I did this first before I decided that it would have been a lot better just to generate it from the character customization here. But that's an option if you need it. And I forgot the last one, which is a pretty cool minor change. Chin height, if you remember, it's just by itself. It has no negative slider. So when you create it, the script even knows that, and it'll go left to right. And if you want it to go right to left, just go here, minimal value, and just set this to 100 and set this to 0. And now I can go the other way. Fancy. And most importantly, let's test this. Nose width, cheek, depth, and chin height. Oh, okay. Never mind. It's buggy. Let's change that. I lied. Let's go to 0 to 100. Okay. It'll just leave it from left to right. I don't do what I just did. I'm a bad developer. So there we go, chin height. And it does all of this with a click of a button, and it all just works, minus the user error, which I just did right there. So this is why I made it all user friendly, because even people like me make these dumb mistakes. But that is pretty cool, and if you're hooked, then go and I have a link in the description. But before you leave, here's another cool things that this may give you a few ideas. So here you'll notice if you download the entire project from my GitHub page for this project, I include something called a demo. This is for my thumbnail, so I just have that there just because. And I have something called the third-person demo, or test third-person demo, and this has its own scene. And this basically showcases that you can, of course, mess with Blendshapes on a third-person character controller and then control it. So here I'm messing with the nose width. Let's give him quite the exaggerated face. There we go. And this was all created here on this side with our with our character customization create slider here. So we click finish. And you also have a third-person camera controller that I scripted and a player controller. So if you wish, feel free to use those. It's still a work in progress, though. I wouldn't recommend it in like a AAA game or something. And he still keeps that expression, or whatever you like to say, that poor face that we give him. And it all works because there's one guy in the I remember in the comments that says he's having problems with his Blendshapes while it's animating. I couldn't reproduce it, but now you guys have a fancy playground to test that at. And if you're wondering how I actually managed to achieve controlling your character after modifying it, it doesn't actually take any additional scripts at all. It's actually really simple. That's assuming if you have a player controller to control your player and a camera controller to control the camera. I simply just disable the camera controller on here on the camera and the player controller on the player initially, and all you have to do, only one simple thing, is the finish button does all the work. If you click on finish, you'll notice here on click you can click plus signs here, and you can drag and drop your like the player, for example, and you can search for that player controller and enable it on click, and that's basically what I did. So basically you have no control on your character, but on button click I turn on the camera controller, I turn on the player controller, and I disable the canvas, and that's essentially how you get your character moving into the game world. Pretty cool, and I hope that gives you ideas. Now, for those thinking, okay, I'm hooked, how do I download this? That's quite simple. The link should be in the description, and you simply just go to where the project is being hosted at on GitHub. And if you want to make any changes yourselves, feel free and send me any bug fixes that you may have find. And of course, if you find any bugs, just comment down below and I'll try my best to help you. And you'll notice up here there is something called releases. But if you want to download everything that I just showcased to you, if you want to have the exact copy of my project, you can do that by just downloading the zip rar right here. Download the zip. If you just want just the scripts to integrate into your project, you don't want all this other junk in there, and you just want the scripts, then click up here where it says releases, and I made something called import ready, and it's basically very simple. So let's say you have a brand new, you went into Blender, you edited a model, and let's, like, here you'll notice this is our standard procedure from the first part of the video of that 4-part series. And hey, this is Robot Kyle from the Unity Technologies, and now he has the changes. Now you say, how do I integrate your project with mine? Because I can see he has Blendshapes, but how does that work? Well, for those of the new users, of course, for the people that already watch all 4 videos, you should already know how this works. You will go to here, download the character customization blendshapes.rar, and you'll simply get this folder here where it has resources and scripts. And I recommend just creating like something like this, like an import folder, and just drag and drop it in there. Or you can try to mix and match mine, though I don't really recommend it. Whoops, that is expanded way too much. Please go down. Okay. And the reason why I don't really recommend it is because there might be collisions. Like I have something called a singleton, and it's possible you may have a singleton already. And I also put them in their proper namespace so they don't collide with your projects, just in case. But anyways, I simply just drag and drop that import ready folder here, and now I have everything I need. Okay, so now I have this blank scene. Let's just what I like to do is Control Shift N, and that creates a new game object. Let's name that character customizer. And if you click add component, type in character, you'll see character customization. And like we said before, we know where this is where Blendshapes are located. It's located under Robot 2. So go back to character customization and drag and drop Robot 2 into that. Or you can just click on this little like circle here and it'll look for any skin mesh renderer, and it's Robot 2. And make sure the suffix and min are correct based on whatever you set your suffix. Honestly, you should just keep it max and min. There's no reason why you should change it to anything else. But here, it detects all the changes like last time: eye size, head size, and hip size. So the next thing you need to do is, if you notice, if you click create slider, it's going to give you an error saying, please add a canvas into your scene. So just right click, UI, and let's actually do a panel. And let's get into the scene mode, and let's just do it like this. Fancy. And let's make it a little bit dark. And a little bit less transparent. There we go. So we have something on the left side. Now let's get back to character customization, and like I said before, create a slider for eye size, for head size, and hip is by itself, so that's going to go left to right all the way. And let's give these appropriate sizes. Let's zoom in a bit. Like so. You notice this is just very easy to use, and bam, just like that, you have successfully integrated this into your project. Head size being changed, eye size, there we go, and hip size. And of course, if you have a player camera controller script, like I said, you can add a button here and enable those, and you basically get your character. I actually have a player controller script here. Let's add that button really fast just to showcase that. But you should pretty much get the point. Let's go UI, button. Let's add button here. Let's just leave it as the name button. Go here on click. Let's create 3. 1 for the canvas, 1 for the robot. I have a player controller on that robot right now, and I have a camera controller on the camera. So camera controller, we're going to enable that. Player controller, we're going to enable that. And the canvas. Set active, false. Now you get to see this all working. So let's just increase that. Eye size and head size really small. Actually looks like a giant baby. And then click the button and bam, look at that. That's pretty cool. So yeah, if you have anything to say in the comments, or any problems, or anything you just feel like blurting out, just leave in the comments. I'll try my best to help you if you have any problems. And hopefully there shouldn't be any more problems. And if you like the video, leave a like. If not, oh well. I'm not so focused on YouTube. But that definitely encourages me. The reason why I came back to this video is because there's a lot of interest in this, and a lot of people are asking for help through PMs and comments. And I was like, wow, I actually like a lot of the interest that I got generated here. And it's really nice to see people try your scripts out. It gives you a weird, warm, fuzzy feeling. But hopefully maybe I'll do more of these. I don't know. But I'll see you guys later.